Good afternoon, and welcome to today's Inclusion Works Lunch and Learn. Before we get started, here are a few reminders about the webinar. Please make sure you're using a computer or smartphone connected to the internet and the audio function is on and the volume is turned up. Please be sure your microphone is muted for the duration of the webinar. American Sign Language interpreters and closed captioning options are available for today's event. The American Sign Language interpreters for today is Susan King Lanier and Danette Stillman Bridges. For closed captioning options, select the closed caption feature located on your control panel. To adjust your view, layout, and screen view, select the view feature located in the top right hand corner of your screen and choose the view that works best for you. Today's agenda topics includes an overview of breaking barriers, a conversation with RV Cuser on overcoming challenges and driving change. There will not be time for questions today after the presentation. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Claire Colligan, IDD Employment Lead for IDD TBI Olmsted Section of the Division of Mental Health, Developmental Disabilities, and Substance Use Services.
Good afternoon. My name is Claire Colligan, and I am the Employment Lead for Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities at the Division of Mental Health, Developmental Disabilities, and Substance Use Services for North Carolina's DHHS. Welcome to the March 2026 Inclusion Works Lunch and Learn. I'm so happy to be here today with everyone as we celebrate National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. As many of you know, obtaining and maintaining good employment for reasonable pay is a difficult thing for many people with disabilities, especially people with cognitive and developmental disabilities. The goal of Inclusion Works is to break down some of those barriers, remove some of those obstacles, forming pathways and partnerships, especially partnerships, so that everyone in North Carolina with a disability, regardless of the severity of that disability, can have a good job if they want to work. Today, we're going to be talking about breaking down some of those barriers. To do this, we have invited Rudolph Victor Kuzer IV to join us today. Many of you know him as RV. RV Kuzer is an author, educator, advocate, and orator. He is a member of the North Carolina Developmental Disabilities Council and is a recipient of the Council's 2022 Leadership Achievement Award. He was recognized for his work as an advocate and for enhancing the lives of people of North Carolina. RV is the author of 3 books, Challenged But Not Defeated, Strategies for Coping with Autism and Schizophrenia. Wait a Minute, A Family's Lessons Learned Through the Gift of Autism. And My Schizophrenia Story, How We Help Each Other. Hand in hand with his wife of 36 years, Marlene, he has dedicated his career to challenging the status quo and removing obstacles to living life to the fullest. He has enhanced the lives of others by sharing his stories. Together, they have built an amazing partnership, advancing the ideas of education, advocacy, and leadership. To learn more about RV, you can go to his website, kuzertalk.com. Please help me in welcoming my friend, RV Kuzer.
Before we get started, however, Mr. RV Kuzer would like to say a few words about the video you are about to see.
Point of interview. You give one and all the glimpse of the many facets in my life, both positive and negative. It can be thought of as a wondrous ways to prevent further stress in life, to incorporate dynamics of the past, present, and the future to help build a self-confidence and to appreciate life.
Hey, RV, thanks for being here today.
Hey, Claire, no problem.
I'm so happy you're here. So I thought we would start off by just getting a little bit of background, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Cool. Can you tell me when and where you were born?
I was born in Princeton, New Jersey in 1962 at 6:09 at night.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about growing up. Who was your family?
Well, my mother and father, my father's name was Rudolph Kuzer. My mother was Mary Volz Kuzer. And my sister is Johanna Feigenspahn Kuzer. Now, I'd like to take a minute to talk about my family dynamic. My parents were two alcoholic parents who really struggled hard. So hard that they had to actually send me to private institutions like, occupational therapy because they could not deal with it. It wasn't their fault, but they were just really spent. So I came in there with one other person already there, and that they can deal with. But with two, it was a lot.
What kind of support did you receive from your family? It sounds like there was a lot of struggle going on.
I had to grow up real quick. I had a childlike manner, but it was over the top, really over the top. So I just utilized that to say it was a child, I'm just immature. But anyway, so I knew that for myself, riding my bike would be great because I like riding my bike. Riding my bike is good. Oh, it's so good. And it was. It allowed me to travel around certain places around Pennington. And most of all, I found peace very early on. So what my parents did for me, outside of giving me inspiration because of their situation, my father had inquired about me going to an occupational therapist. In the 1960s, the early 1960s, that was unheard of, cutting edge. So when I talk about the community, I talk about the school community, and I talk about the home community. Let's talk about the home community first.
Sure.
So my family was disengaged a little bit, so I had to find nurturing possibilities with the kids down the street.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little nervous about that because, we have to flap. Always got to flap. Yeah. And kisses. I got to kiss you. Yeah. So, and it was really amazing that the rapport that everyone had was like something I'd never seen before. I mean, it was amazing because there was girls and boys in all different ages, but the older girls were supporting each other and supporting the rest of us. And that was so cool. It was so cool. And then we played games and everything, and we played, and this game was great. It's called Taking a Break. That break was geared for me and me only because I had trouble keeping my seat and not acting up. But they didn't want me to act up, so they said, "RB, we got a lovely game you'd like to play." So what kind of game? It's called Per Measure because it measures your activity. If you're getting too wound up, you have to stay out of action for a little bit. Oh, that doesn't sound so fun. But if you're telling me, then that's probably pretty good. So that's one thing. So my life in schools was also very difficult. When I started school, I went to Trenton. Trenton's, the capital and so forth, big school. The Lillard School, I know you may not have heard of it, but the Lillard School was a profound school with a lot of kids with challenge issues. I went there, tried it, did not like it, and just so happens that I got really invested back home, so that was good.
You didn't fit there.
I didn't fit there, and everybody came on board to figure that out, and
It brought me back home.
Okay. What kind of supports were available in schools during that period of time?
Well, that was really tough and really difficult to maneuver. I had my personal vocational director, but that was about it. And so I'm walking out, having break and walking around the blacktop was very instrumentally positive for me. Absolutely, absolutely. Because I was seeing a nice event going on, and I would appreciate that. But most importantly, I was noticing children's behaviors. Not like writing everything they did, but you know, how the girls talked to the girls, and the guys. And sometimes the girls would be, you know, giggling and so forth. And I found all that was quite illogical, and it didn't make any sense to me at all. But I persevered.
And you took that perspective from learning from watching.
Indeed.
And you learned how to be with people from watching people.
Exactly so. And it's that nurturing that I got from that ideal and that mindset was really a help. And thanks goodness for Star Trek. I identified very well with Mr. Spock.
Yeah, everything has to be logical.
Yes.
So you talked a little bit about those challenges. Were there educational challenges for you?
Absolutely.
You didn't learn like other kids.
Yeah. Well, that was never really quite brought up.
Never brought up.
Yes.
How did you cope with that?
Well, that's a good question. So going back to the first school I went to, right out of town, they had so many nice programs, but they didn't fit because the kids didn't fit. We were all just floating in space, outer space, lost in space. Take a pick. And it was fine, but it needed to be slowed down from what our needs were, our individual needs, along with the spectrum of what we felt like. So when I came back to Mercer County, I made an effort in doing something, and that was getting to know my friends, getting to know people that have been walking with me. And then one time I know that I made my friends really mad because I had two friends, one who was a school friend and one who was my friend for a few years. And I said to them something that was silly, but something both they didn't appreciate. I said, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't say that." And it never came up again. But it showed me that, you know, there's a time and a place for everything.
So again, learning by watching.
Yes.
Other people's reactions.
Right. But I also wanted to say thank you in my own way so they know that I didn't do it remorseful.
Yeah. Yeah. We were just trying to figure out where to be.
Exactly. Indeed.
Indeed. So you know how, like, as kids we're asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? What was your thoughts about that when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up?
Really?
Really?
A teacher.
A teacher.
So a teacher is something which cultivated me. But I loved how I learned in school. And in my classroom, we had the girls, and they were instituting language, and it was just the way the teacher wanted, because she was so wrought with low functions like me that it was just hard for her to. So she had Agnes Kim, Mary Cat, and Jane something. And they all worked together as girls to help me, like, not get so agitated when I was having trouble writing so slowly.
They were helping you cope.
Yes, they were. And so one time I was out in the playground. I was crying. I was crying, one, because my toy had got broken, because the kids took it. But the other, when I am doing things, I have a cycle. A cycle for means that, like women, like you have a cycle, or any woman has a cycle, I have a cycle. I have an autistic cycle. That means that at any time of the month, one part of the month, I get very stressed. I cry, I get violent, and then it's just gonna be left alone.
Mhm.
So I learned, as I was getting a little bit older, that I would have to watch other kids, other special ed kids, to see if they do this. And they did. And all along the way, the times in the month would come and go, and the same kids would act out the same way. I thought that was extraordinary.
It made you curious.
It did.
Learning more about how people function.
Yes.
Shift gears a little bit. Get to the high school years. What were some of the pros and cons for you in high school?
Pros and cons were nothing ever happened that was like nothing bad, seriously, or nothing. Because first of all, I was like a bookmark. I was a nerd. Hi guys. Hi RB. And we were all like we were typical nerds, you know, and we looked like the nerd guys from the movies. So high school had a very interesting paradigm for me. It was a little frightening and a little bit, you know, stressed, but yet at the same time, it was so glorious. What do I mean by that? Well, one teacher, whose name was Mr. Sign, he came in, a very heavy guy, because he was, you know, very stressed all the time eating, because he was an actor, wanted to be an actor, and he couldn't do it. So he taught the kids what worked for him. But my thing with Mr. Sign was that I loved him. I said to him, "It was great. I hope you have a great summer." And he said, "Arby, anytime you're here, it's a great summer."
Nice.
And I knew what he meant, and it was great. I didn't have too many. We both didn't have too many friends, so that also was. And then it was art. It was mixing the whole enticement of what it does for me. It helps open up my mind to create this structure of other characters. And I can do it fluidly, and I can do it now. I can do it now, great, because I had that thing with, you know, my energy. And it just makes me feel so at peace and at home. I also got involved as a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
I was on a track and team, field and track team.
Mm-hmm.
And I was soccer, well, I wanted to be a soccer player. I wasn't really good, so I became their manager.
So if you will, would you share a breakdown of your employment history?
Certainly. My employment history was certainly interesting. It was doing landscape. My father didn't know any landscape, so we hired him. But he was a master at doing lawn service and ground service, and he was just typically, you know, it was just great. So what that taught me is, it taught him patience, but it taught him how to communicate with me. When I get overwhelmed, when I get over upset, and because he knows I wasn't upset all the time, I wouldn't be furious, I would be quiet, and then explode. I was in landscaping for a while, but my father wanted something a little more secure. So he went to we checked things out at the state. All right, fine. My father was my rock, and he was trying to set an example of security in your money and so forth. Fine.
He wanted you to be safe and stable.
Well, and I am, but he didn't know that, and he was afraid of that. So at that time, when I came to school, kids were fine. A lot of them were a little happy-go-lucky, but overall they were. The problem was, my autism was so profound that sometimes people they would just take it that I didn't know, or I'd feel weighed down because I don't understand this and I'm only getting bits and pieces. And that was just not good.
So you didn't feel like you were part of things either?
I felt suicidal
Okay. Okay.
because nothing was being done for me or anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I felt afraid.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that I had a lot of brain and I could use that brain in different ways. To no avail.
To no avail.
So, but it was only when I began to realize that I can get involved in other things, like the theater, boys chorus.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got involved in all those things, it made it better. I didn't let the sounds and echoes of yesterday bother me anymore. I just applied my life to what everybody else is doing. And I said, I got value. You want to come along and be with me, that's fine. But if you don't take value from someone else, you can't be my friend. And the test for that was when I snapped into my convenient self. My home is be autistic.
When you really became RV?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was struggling. And I got back on track because I got support from my family.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents, and I couldn't tell my parents because my mom was very fragile. And so my father helped me through that. My friends from my old neighborhood helped me through that. And it wasn't something, there's something I can talk about. It was something that people just saw. But I worked out of it. And I had my beautiful wife, Marlene.
And you met Marlene.
Yes.
How did you become an educator?
The story is that I didn't know where to go to, so I looked up East Brunswick, New Jersey. At that time, they had a rating of #1 rating on what they do with their population. So I went there and applied. So that was some 35 years ago. And I left that program because I moved out of the county, out of the state.
Mm.
And so I went into the office where the teacher was. But before I did that, I looked at the room. I saw some kids with their head on a desk, other kids sitting there playing with triangles. I said, "Are you kidding me? What the F are you talking about?" Sorry about my peaceful language. And then...
So they weren't being educated?
No, they weren't being educated at all. I was going to make a point of it right then and there. So I talked to the main teacher. And she goes, "No, you really didn't. They're not them. Don't worry about it." Don't worry about that? No, I don't think so. So I went and said, "Well, hello. Hello. What's your name?" "My name's Frank." "My name's RB." "Boy, that's great. Do you have like any games?" "Yes." "What kind?" "Well, I like to look at comic books." "So do I. Batman and Superman." And he goes, "Yeah, I like Batman." "Oh, that's great. Oh, I love Batman too." So we're going on, and after about a few minutes later, he goes, "So what's this talk about yucky?" "Well, my teacher she tried, but she doesn't know how to teach." And I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, she would say, you do this." And the book was a practical book, but had younger age algebraic formula. I said, no, we're not doing that. So I pushed this up. He goes, "What are you doing?" "Watch me." "You can't do that." I said, "Watch me." And now we're going through integers of
Actually
components.
teaching.
And we were working, but I made myself the student, and he was my helper. And he said, "Oh, well, how do I do this? I can't do this." "Yes, you can." "Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can." And by the evening of that night, he was on board, and he said, "Oh, will you be my teacher?" I said, "Sure." And that's how it began. That's how it began.
Were you always accepted by your peers at work, your
No.
colleagues?
No.
Will you tell us a little?
When I started working as a teacher, that was not fun. There was a gentleman, if you want to call it, I would say a male person, at the school where I taught, and he could never listen to me. I mean, he was just awful. And I said, "What the heck have I done to this guy?" And every time that he wanted to feel strong, he would make a point with all the kids in the cafeteria. And I looked like I was the dopey one. But at that point, I didn't care. I didn't take it. And then, of course, I had to run and see my counselor. She's my boss. And she said, "Oh, well, just ignore it. You're fine." Not what I wanted to hear.
Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Just put up with it?
Just put up with it, right. And the problem, too, is I knew how much on the spectrum I was. I mean, I am really there. And I had to learn to distribute that. I mean, to show it to more people and let them see what they will.
Let them see what the spectrum looks like.
Right.
I want to make sure that I'm clear, and maybe we'll take this part of the question out, but it sounded like that man wanted to humiliate you.
Oh, then he got an A+ on that.
Yeah.
I try not to think about people like that.
Yeah. You also managed to, even though she told you, just don't think about it, just don't worry about it, you also managed to find ways to come to grips with it and to move forward for yourself. You want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, well, about that time, I was going to panic disorder. Bad case of panic disorder. Once a month, at least, I was having a panic attack after panic attack. And now I am 7 years sober. And now that's sober because I was not drinking, but just having a chemical problem in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
You-
sorry.
In a space of clearer thinking.
Yes,
Okay. What makes teaching so valuable for you?
because we are all valuable. We all are valuable, and anybody who doesn't believe that doesn't deserve to have any word in my book. It took me a long time to get there, but now that I'm here, I'm stuck here. This is my home, and I deserve just as much as anyone else.
Absolutely. Shifting gears a little bit, can you tell us how and why you decided to write your first book?
Yeah, I can tell you about that. Books have been very difficult for me to read, to write. I had imagination skills, and it's something my mother would, she would downplay it in a heartbeat. So I didn't tell him. Then I asked Lucky Marlene to help me with the editing. And then it rolled off. And then I held my own book in my hands. And it was out of sight. It was just out of sight. And it was bugging. It rocked the stars.
So much accomplishment.
It was, but the whole thing wasn't about me so much as everyone else. I wanted to prove an example that to anyone and everyone, they've got a right to do everything they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I always made that especially clear to anyone I know. I am so excited for all the kids and people to read my current book.
Yeah.
It's a journey of avenue of support and communion, and to take the edge, take the bounce, the jump, and always teach. I strive to always teach everyone to be yourself.
When you're communicating through your books, and I understand you're working on your fourth book right now, when you're communicating through your books, what are some of the messages you want to make sure that people take away when they read your stories?
That I'm a person no greater, no worse than you. I have a very tough challenge in my life, but that makes it all the better because it makes me appreciate my life in general. And that's about it. There's nothing worth saying other than that.
As an advocate in North Carolina, what are your thoughts about the Inclusion Works project and the direction North Carolina is trying to take to help more people get jobs, people with disabilities?
I think the plan is very ambitious, and it's terrific. And the work and what you're doing it's fundamental. And yet, I am curious how some kids or adults feel about the system. I am going to be very honest with you. I'm afraid of dying, not because I'm afraid of dying, but I'm afraid that who do I have to support me? No family. My family's just about burned out. My mother's gone, my father's gone, my aunt's gone. Marlene is a little older than me. So where can I go that it's my home?
So what other supports are out there?
I don't know.
Is that, I'm checking to see that if that's what you're asking.
Yes.
What other supports are there for
Right.
people like you?
Hmm.
And do we in North Carolina need to do more?
I think so, and I think no matter what the subject is, anything when it comes to disability has to be looked at from all angles.
Look, all angles.
Yes.
Okay.
Because my father, as good intentioned he never asked the right question. For him, it was just like everything was a dollar sign for him.
If he could supply the money, everything would
Right,
be okay.
exactly. That's it.
Okay. What would have been some of the right questions he could have asked?
He would have said, I'm plotting his success. It's really great. And we now know, through these things that, people can be aware.
Mm-hmm. What can Inclusion Works and Inclusion Connects and all the work North Carolina is doing, what can we do more of?
Listen. You have two modules I see in back of my head. One module is for one person, for him right now, or them right now, to figure out how they can adequately go to vocational school, vocational technical school, and then figure out from there what they want to do.
The practical stuff.
Practical stuff, right, exactly.
What kind of school, what kind of work?
Right. Now, I never had the opportunity as a young person to go to school. I wish I could have, but and now, now there is institutions that
Do you
do
mean
that.
college?
Yes, college, exactly.
Okay.
But there is tremendous effort now, I see, and it's really great to see. And I think that I applaud everyone who is a part of it, you and all of us.
What is your advice to young people who are entering the workforce?
Don't sweat it.
Don't sweat it.
You've got friends, you've got family. Take everything slow and put all the possibilities in front of you. But make sure you always do it for yourself and not anyone else. I can't make my parents happy, and I never will, and I understand that. But while you're young, make sure you have a clear headway where you want to go.
Okay. What is your advice to the people who support the people who want to work?
I think that anyone who wants to work can work. But I also think that there is a responsibility to understand each other. I think that is to have a smart relationship, a smart and valued relationship with anyone is always a good thing. And I think some people who have services don't really take in, and that they assume you say something to somebody about their intellectual capacity, and they can't learn. Oh boy, how it smacks me up to the head.
Yeah.
But everyone is anything they want to be.
Decompress. I chose to show how I decompress in the storm of stress and anxiety. Start to manifest and decompressing allows me to create a formula to feel steady and calm because I have found peace of mind.
What I've had to do is I've had to create a system in my mind to perpetuate another person, a person that can act, a person that can dance, a person that can free in spirit. Then there's someone who's really spirited. So I take the time when I was 6 years old, and it's been frozen in time. So I am here, but in some ways, it's very complex.
I think so, yeah.
And when I decompress, all of it goes away. So here I am right now. I'm really structured. Really structured.
You're really structured right now.
Hold on your gate. Hold on. Okay, here it comes. Hi. Hi. Did I say hi? I love you. Hi, Mr. Sir. Are you doing good? Are you doing good? Yeah. Yeah. You see, Big RV thinks that, you know, he always likes to take care of me. But I can do myself. I can. And then my childhood was terrible. Oh, absolutely terrible. It was awful. Hi.
I was just going to ask you, did you?
La 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 la. Yeah.
I was just going to ask you that.
They made this mistake of asking me about my switching mechanism. I think for me that is just so important because the kids growing up might not know what this is. They might be, you know, might watch it from people and so forth, but and everybody's switching is different.
Mm-hmm.
What helped me, in this case, be more supported by this is that I have schizophrenia. So the story with schizophrenia is that there was something that both autism and schizophrenia had that they learned to cooperate. Cooperation. And that was the big question mark. But where it's all go, it doesn't matter where it goes. The fact that they've understood that they both are each other's lesson.
Mm-hmm. So we have a few more minutes, and I see that lovely Marlene is here. So Marlene, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you.
You guys have been together for 36 years. Can you tell us a little bit, Marlene, about how you both met?
Yes, well, we went to a dating service, and that was, you know, so many years ago. There were no computers. So this is in New Jersey, and RV went to a the office at one side of the state. I went to the other side of the state. I was living there. Went to that office, and they gave us phone numbers. We talked, and we said, well, you know, I guess we should meet. Not knowing what each of us looked like, all right, just what we were wearing. So I'm waiting at the restaurant. RV walked in, which I'm assuming it was him because somebody was late, but but he had a bouquet of flowers in his hand. So I said, well, if this is RV, he might be a keeper. So also, I actually needed some doors moved, and RV just happened to have a truck, so I had to move the doors for me.
And that's where the pattern began.
That's right, that's right. That's right, that's right.
When I cannot speak, when I become exhausted, it is difficult for me to articulate language. Something happens in my mind. It seems like energy is about to explode. What I have learned to do is before explosion is to turn down the temperature. An emergency cool down is now initiated so to speak. At this point, sign language has been utilized.
Can I ask another question of you, RV? Are you ready? Okay. What's it like having this lovely lady? What's this partnership like? Can you tell us, Marlene?
Well, a little bit, yes. As far as I can tell. I may be making up stuff. I am your sunshine, is that what you said? Was that close enough? Right, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. And I know you're so tired.
I want to say that RV he is so, I want to say, intuitive of not only my needs or I want to say, he doesn't read my mind, but he knows kind of like what that I need. Okay, let's put it that way. What I'm going through even. And I never thought that it was that apparent, but to him it's very apparent. So I've learned so many things from him. And he is so positive, so positive.
I think that really showed today
Yeah.
in the video.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it already.
Yeah.
But it really showed today as we talked about this stuff.
Yes, he is amazing.
You grew up in a time where people may not have thought you could have a good career. Even though society has changed and there have been a lot of advancements in the field of employment, there are still people out there who say that some people are too disabled to work. What would you say in response to that?
I would say anyone who's brave enough to forge head on in an attitude of guilt and mistrust. Anyone who can do that and still find work is, I would think that we have enough of that.
We've had enough of that. I want to say thank you so much for being here. I know this was a lot. We talked for a long time, and it takes a lot out of a person to do that. I want to thank you as well for your openness and for allowing us into your life and showing us what being RV really looks like.
Please scan the QR code to watch the video with Amy Miller, CEO of OE Enterprises, about her experience participating in the Inclusion Works Provider Innovation Program. The recording and presentation slides for today's event will be posted on the Inclusion Works website. For more information and resources, stay connected with Inclusion Works by attending our Lunch and Learns, visiting our website, and joining our mailing list. The links are included in the chat. There will be a brief survey following today's webinar, and we would appreciate your time completing it. The next Lunch and Learn will be on Wednesday, April 15th at noon, and we hope you will join us then. This concludes our webinar for today. Thank you for attending.